What's going on, y'all? Today we're going to be doing our full breakdown and review of the Fantastic Four movie. We're going to start off with how we thought the casting was. I thought it was done almost to perfection, man. I mean, a lot of people had some doubts and a lot of people had a lot of negative things to say when the cast was first announced. But personally, I truly believe that if you put great actors in movies and you have a vision and you have a good director, good things are gonna happen. And you saw that in this movie. The chemistry all of them had together was exceptional. Probably the best chemistry we've seen um, in any Marvel movie. I mean, I'm not saying that it's the best chemistry, but I'm saying it's as good as it gets in the MCU. Um, everybody acted their parts really well. I was a really big fan of Vanessa uh, as Sue Storm, and I really did like Julia Gardner as Shala Ball. Um, those were a couple standouts. And Johnny Storm, I mean, I thought that Joseph Quinn did a really good job as Johnny Storm. I know Chris Evans was kind of some big shoes to fill just because of how big his personality was in those Fantastic Four movies. But he definitely lived up to the hype. And I personally prefer his Human Torch over Chris Evans. There were some things I'd like to see more as far as like I want the attention. I want all the eyes drawn on me that we saw from Chris Evans in the previous two films. But I think they did a great job, and I really think Pedro Pascal made me believe that he was Mr. Fantastic. I know there was a lot of questions going into this movie as far as how he would be. Will he convince you that he's the smartest man alive? Will he convince you that he's thinking of every possible outcome of and every possible possibility. Um, and he did that really well, man. I mean, he really delved deep into the nerdy aspects of Mr. Fantastic. You saw him at a chalkboard for like a good 15 minutes total in this movie. He was always doing new things, creating new inventions. This was what I want to see from a Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I was iffy on Pedro at first. Then, I watched the movie, and I think he has portrayed Mr. Fantastic the best out of any of the actors so far. I mean, he showed that the genius part of Reed Good, and I also like the relationship between Sue and Reed in the movie. I think Pedro did a great job with that.
Yeah, Matt Shackman is a great director when it comes to showing relationships. WandaVision, you really, really felt the chemistry that Wanda and Vision had throughout the entirety of the show. And same here with this movie. Like you really truly felt that they were a real couple. You know, they had interesting dynamics, interesting arguments when it comes to Franklin's safety and should they sacrifice him to Galactus to save the world or not. I mean, there was a lot of interesting conversations, and it really felt like a real couple, which is kind of rare to see in a lot of these DC and Marvel films. It feels like they don't get the chemistry right, or some of the conversations don't feel, real or authentic. But they really did a good job in this movie. And as far as Julia Gardner as Shala Ball, she killed it. Personally, this is my favorite Silver Surfer we've seen on screen. I know you've only seen him one other time, but I mean the shots that we get in space of her just surfing through the galaxy and surfing through flames, and the way she just her presence, when she gets to Earth and she heralds Galactus. I thought it was done exceptionally well. Her lines, you felt that she delivered them to its full extent. Everything that she said, you felt, and I thought she did a really good job, man.
Yeah,
And she bad.
whenever she showed up or whatever in the city, and like you said, was giving the whole speech about Galactus, it felt menacing. She delivered it perfectly to me. It really felt like, oh, something dangerous is actually about to come up on us. And I think she did a great job, bro.
They showed her powers really well too.
Yeah, Yeah, this is Silver Surfer like you've never seen him before, seen her before. Um, the way that she phases through things, the way she phases through her board, the way she serves. I mean, like when you see her go in the galaxy and goes full blast throughout space, it's really cool and crazy to see in a Marvel movie because I've been wanting to see Silver Surfer done in the MCU for so long, and now that we get to finally see that, I think it was well worth the hype and well worth the wait. See all these guys. Another thing, the thing was perfect, straight from the comic books. Graphic wise, it's as good as it gets. You really felt like that this was a real thing. I mean, I know it wasn't practical, the costume like the previous Fantastic Four, but it looked really well, and I think they did a really good job at designing them.
Yeah, I mean, he looked exactly how he did in the comics, which is exactly what everybody wanted. I mean, I know I did. I'm glad they did it that way. I mean, if they, I like the practical suit for when the first two Fantastic Four came out. I thought it was good for the time. It was cool, but now that CGI is as good as it is, if you didn't do it the way they did it, then I think it would have ruined the character.
Right. And this was one of those movies that you could really tell they took their time to go throughout all the designs and all the templates they wanted to use. And the CGI was done exceptionally well. This was not a rush CGI at all. I've seen a couple people in the reviews say the CGI was iffy. Really, the only time I really noticed it was with the baby. It's always hard for these superhero films to get a baby right. But other than that, I mean, everything looked perfect to me. Everything felt so surreal. Really felt like that you were in space with them. It takes you, to a whole nother area that you really haven't seen in the MCU as far as like when you see Guardians of the Galaxy, they're in spaceships, but this really feels like a space film. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like a science fictiony um, going to space, going to different planets, especially when they get there and they interact with Galactus. That was really cool to see. It really felt like straight from like one of these science fiction films that has nothing to do with Marvel. And as far as Galactus' design, I thought it was perfect. He wasn't a bunch of clouds. So already there, that's a win. I mean, that's better than what they did in the first film. He was very menacing. I was skeptical. I thought that Galactus is one of those comic book characters, kind of like MODOK. You do it in live action, it's gonna look goofy, but they did it perfectly. I don't think Galactus could have looked any better than he did in this movie. He felt really menacing. And when you saw him go to Earth, I mean, you look at him towering over these skyscrapers, and you could feel every step he took on Earth. Um, I felt like it was a really good job.
Yeah, I'm the way they mixed him like actually being in a practical suit when filming or whatever. I was watching about it, like how they used the practical and CGI together. It made it perfect, dude. He looked perfect, which is so hard to do with like a kaiju type of being.
Right, right. And Ralph Ineson's voice was also perfect. You couldn't get any better than this when it comes to voice acting Galactus. He sounded menacing, he sounded terrifying, and I guess in a way he sounded like a wise giant. You know what I mean? My only complaint with Galactus is I wish we could have kind of got more to the backstory. In the first Fantastic Four, Galactus didn't have a voice. Galactus didn't talk. And this one, he's talking about a curse and how he wants to pass it on to Franklin. I feel like we could have got more of the backstory of the curse, or maybe more of his backstory of how he became Galactus. Because at one point, he does say he was a regular person, just like them, and then he got this curse, and now he has to feed on all these worlds across the galaxy. I feel like that would have been cool to show in the movie his backstory and how he got to this point. I thought it was really cool that this was a standalone film, that you didn't have to see anything else from Marvel, because especially nowadays with all the TV shows they got on Disney Plus that you have to watch, feels like you got to do a lot of keeping up just to be able to enjoy some of these films, especially Captain America: Brave New World. There was a lot of storylines in there that you would have to have watched a bunch of the Disney Plus shows. Here, there was none of that. It took place on its own, and you can really show this movie to anybody. If you just enjoy good science fiction, you can watch this movie. And I thought that was really clever on their part to kind of make it its own separate universe, but also it's going to tie into Doomsday and Secret Worlds. When they were talking about moving the planet, at first I was like, are they going to try and move their planet? Are we going to see an incursion? Could this potentially cause Secret Wars? And I thought that was really interesting to see. Another interesting thing to see was Doctor Doom. If you notice throughout the movie, when the nations all came together to talk to the Fantastic Four, you notice Latveria, the seat was empty every single time. That was kind of a cool nod to Doctor Doom doesn't really want to associate with the Fantastic Four for some reason. Why does he not like the Fantastic Four? And then it all comes to the spoiler credit scene where he is holding Franklin, which is a cool parallel to The Incredibles when Syndrome is holding Jack Jack and he's gonna harness his Jack Jack's powers. Probably what you're gonna see here with Franklin. I love the sci-fi '60s aesthetic, the Jetsons, The Incredibles. This is really truly a live action parallel to The Incredibles, even though personally I prefer The Incredibles to this movie. The Incredibles to me is a perfect superhero film. This movie kind of falls a little bit short in terms of originality, right? Galactus is coming. Um, they got to stop him. Silver Surfer makes the ultimate sacrifice in the end, just like Fantastic Four 2. So for that, I have to deduct some points. And I feel like I wanted to see more from Mr. Fantastic. I mean, Wanda did more to Mr. Fantastic in Doctor Strange than in this movie with Mr. Fantastic. I mean, you saw Galactus kind of, you know what I mean, which you said was really creepy
Yeah,
and weird.
I think it was probably one of the most like how do I put it, like intense, like
Unsettling.
unsettling. Yeah, like I don't know. That's like something I don't know. Just really I don't like. Just thinking of like somebody getting stretched like that, even with like his powers being that he's elastic, dude. Like I don't know. That scene was something else.
It was unsettling. It was a really cool, interesting scene, a way to showcase his powers. I wouldn't say it's as unsettling as what Wanda did to John Krasinski
Oh
and
no.
Doctor Strange. I mean, dude literally turned into spaghetti noodles. Um, but it was definitely unsettling and it was definitely tense, no pun intended. Watching that scene, watching him just stretch him like Play-Doh, you know what I mean? But I feel like as a superhero whose powers is to transform and morph into anything he wants it to be, they didn't really truly live up to the potential. Another thing was the thing. I feel like we didn't really see a lot of his powers. You saw his true strength in a couple scenes. You know, you see him pulling the boat, which I think was a nod to Mr. Incredible when he pulls the train with the chain. You saw him do that cannonball. Johnny drops him. He does a cannonball right into Galactus's face. That was pretty cool. But other than that, you really didn't see the thing go in there and rock 'em, sock 'em. But it is Galactus and it is the Silver Surfer. So really, you're not going to see that. I feel like the only superhero where you could really be like, wow, that's true justice was Invisible Woman, Sue Storm.
Hmm.
Her powers were shown at full display. It was really cool to see at the end her literally push Galactus, into that portal to be transformed into to be teleported into another galaxy. That was really cool to see. Um, I'm interested to see how this all works out in Doomsday. I know Reed Richards is probably going to be one of the main characters because it is Doctor Doom. Reed Richards and Doctor Doom never like each other, and they always have chemistry in all these films. And because Doctor Doom is coming from Fantastic Four's world, you could assume that they know each other, and you can assume that they have at least some sort of background as far as their relationship's concerned. So when you see them in Doomsday, I feel like you're going to see a lot more of Reed. I feel like this could be, you know, a good stepping stone for these sequels. I feel like Fantastic Four has the potential to have a best Marvel movie in the MCU as far as solos. Um, I mean, you see what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy, and these were characters that really no one was familiar with. This is Fantastic Four. This is the most iconic group in all of Marvel. So you got to treat this. You got to treat this with respect, and you got to do this right. And I feel like in some of the sequels, we might be able to get a perfect MCU movie out of them.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how they go about moving the Fantastic Four into the main 616 universe.
Right, because at the end of Thunderbolts, you do see them in the main 616 universe. So I'm sure that we're going to get some sort of backstory or background as to how that. Um, but it probably won't be explained till Doomsday. As far as the new Spider-Man that's coming out in July, I wouldn't expect anything Fantastic Four related to happen in there. I feel like this is going to be a Spider-Man film that focuses on Spider-Man and some of the more smaller street level characters. Um, so we'll probably figure all this out when Doomsday comes out in December of 2026. But I enjoyed the movie a lot. I feel like there's a lot of great things going on in this film. Everybody did their job as far as acting. Just when you watch an action movie, you expect more action. The original Rise of the Silver Surfer had a lot more action. You had, even though it was Silver Surfer and Galactus, you also had Doctor Doom in the picture. You also saw Human Torch absorb all their powers, go one on one with Doctor Doom. You saw a lot more things as far as everybody's powers being used. They done that better. That's really the only thing I could say that Rise of the Silver Surfer did better than this Fantastic Four film was action. Anything else, though, I'm giving to this one. This one is by far the best Fantastic Four movie. It's not even close. This one is a 4.5 for me out of 5. And I feel like the other Fantastic Four movies is maybe like a 2 out of 5 and maybe a 3 out of 5. This one is way, 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 way better. And I feel like if you're slightly interested in the Fantastic Four, you need to see this movie. If you just want a good space movie, you can watch this movie. At some points, it does get a little goofy, especially when you see how they interact with Galactus. But I feel like it had a sense of realism that the other Fantastic Four movies didn't have. The other Fantastic Four movies were really campy to me, and this one's not campy at all.
Yeah.
I think it takes itself serious as much as any Fantastic Four movie should take itself serious. I would like to see extra characters being involved in this movie. I know at some point we're gonna see Franklin really reach his full potential. In the comic books, he's one of the most powerful characters in all of Marvel. Just like Incredibles, Jack, he's more powerful than any of the members of the Incredibles. Franklin is more powerful than any of the Fantastic Four, more powerful than most of any Marvel characters. I mean, he's gonna be a vital part in Doomsday. It's gonna be interesting to see. I'd like to say that Doctor Doom, if I had to predict it, he finds a way to kidnap Franklin. He does kidnap Franklin, and he finds a way to harness his powers to conquer these different planets.
Yeah, I think they showed really like just a glimpse at how powerful Franklin is when he brings Sue back to life. I mean, that like bringing a character back to life, like that's a big deal. And he, as a baby, he did it. So
Right. right, and you really truly saw like the surprise, the shock on all these other members of the Fantastic Four's faces when he did that. Like, wow, this kid is what Galactus was saying he was. He's going to be a cosmic force, and in Doomsday, you're most definitely going to see that. As far as will he be a villain eventually? Will he lead the Young Avengers? I mean, this is one of the most powerful people in all of Marvel. You would expect that at some point, as he gets older, he would get a vital role in a lot of these Marvel films. But we'll see what's to come with all this. Um, I really felt like Joseph Quinn did a great job. I really feel like Pedro Pascal did a great job. All these guys did a great job. If you were playing a character in this movie, you killed it. Really, I can't say I prefer any of the original Fantastic Four members over these Fantastic Four members. I saw a lot of people saying that Pedro Pascal wasn't the best Mr. Fantastic, but I feel like he was. Like I said, due to his powers not being on full display, I feel like that's what's kind of leading these people to say these things. But as far as like intelligence goes and planning and strategy and inventions, like I said before, this is Mr. Fantastic at its finest, straight from the comic book.
Yeah. Also, another character not many people have been talking about. I loved Mole Man. Mole Man was. I loved the casting. I thought his character was really good. I want to see more of him.
And Marvel does a really good job at making complex characters and complex villains and anti-heroes. And Mole Man in the comic books is normally just a villain. Another parallel to the Incredibles when you saw I can't remember his name, but he comes out the tunnel with the drill. Another nod to Mole Man and the Fantastic Four. But he was a complex character, right? Because at first he was the bad guy, and then he's good, and now he's bringing all the citizens of New York underground to protect them from Galactus. That was really cool and interesting to see. I love that actor, man. I can't remember his name, but I know he played in that movie. I know he played in that movie about Josie Jewell, the security guard that was supposed to find the bomb in the Olympics. It's a really good movie. But yeah, these guys all did a really good job as far as playing out their parts. The casting couldn't be any better in any Marvel film. I mean, this casting's up there with Guardians of the Galaxy casting, in my opinion.
I completely agree with that. I like that whole cast over any of them.
Right. I hope we get to see more of Julia Gardner as Silver Surfer. Um, she was incredible. She killed it. I feel like in Doomsday, we might get to see her, or maybe even Secret Wars. I'd like to say Secret Wars was going to be a two-part film. It's a lot to add, man. It's just a lot to go through if we're going to stay true to the comics, which I know Marvel doesn't stay exactly true to the comics, but we're going to be true to the comics and tell a incredible, interesting story. It's got to be a two-parter. I feel like you could pull off Doomsday as a one-parter. I feel like we'll see a lot of these characters, just play really big roles, and then Secret Wars, you kind of see a lot of everybody. But I feel like it was a good job. I also like how Marvel always finds a way. Like if they're aware that we've seen these people's origin stories again and again and again. Spider-Man was so refreshing and good because we didn't see the Uncle Ben dying, him getting bit by the radioactive spider, him getting his powers, him learning how to use his powers and all that. Same thing here with the Fantastic Four. You really didn't see much of them going to space, getting their cosmic powers, getting changed. You didn't see the Thing go through his transformation and them finding out how to use their powers or dealing with the realization that they're not going to change back to humans. They're going to be stuck like this and what all responsibilities comes with it, which I like, man. Marvel is really good at being aware of, hey, they done seen these origin stories. We're good on that. We're going to focus on telling a really good and interested story. and we're not gonna waste time here with these origins.
Yeah, I like that it was mostly just like there was a little bit of flashbacks like of them before they went to space, and then it was just mostly audio. I think they really did a
Right.
good job with that, and it didn't take up like it was not like that long either. I think that was really good.
Right. And I would have liked to see maybe a smaller villain they fight. I know you see like clips of it in the beginning, but I would have actually liked to see that be part of the story and part of the movie just to give a chance for Mr. Fantastic or the thing to truly shine so we could see more of their powers and how they fight and how they work together as a team when it comes to a lot of these smaller villains. You know, Galactus is such a big and grand villain, not just in Fantastic Four, but to Marvel itself. It would have been cool to watch and see how they work together to stop kind of these street level villains or kind of like the American country threatening villains versus like the entire world. You know what I mean? But you know, high stakes requires high measures. So I'm not going to complain too much about that. But it was just a little nitpick for me.
Yeah,
Overall, I think this movie was beautifully shot. Some of the best cinematics in all of Marvel. It's up there with Doctor Strange. It's up there with Guardians of the Galaxy. Um, it's definitely takes pride in how it's shot, and it definitely takes pride in its visuals. Unlike Deadpool and Wolverine, that just wants to entertain you the entire time with story and action and fight sequences and humor. This wants to truly show its world and its universe, and it's shot beautifully. Um, I'd give this movie a four, like I said, a 4.5 out of five. There's a couple nitpicks, and like I said, due to lack of originality, I can't make this a perfect Marvel film. But like I said, its sequels have a lot of potential to be one of the best in the MCU.
yeah. I mean, to me, this is everything I wanted out of a Fantastic Four movie. So I'd personally give it a 5 out of 5. Um, I mean, like you said, it was shot beautifully. I mean, they did good on the CGI. It was shot nice. All that was just I don't know. It's exactly what I wanted, and I got it.
And I do want to add that the score is also great. A movie is only as good as its score, and I feel like the music that you hear in some of these scenes and sequences really help push the movie and the story further.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it a 4.2. I thought it was a really great movie. It's a 5 as far as superhero movies, and definitely compared to the other ones. But like, as far as like general movies, I'd give it like a 4.2.
Would you say Thunderbolts is better or worse than this movie?
Mm, a little worse. It's hard to compare. They're two totally different things.
Right. I'd say I gave Thunderbolts a 4.5 out of 5 too, but I would say Fantastic Four takes that slight edge just because of the familiarity I have with these characters in the comic books I've read. Thunderbolts, you don't really have that decades upon decades of history with these characters like you do with the Fantastic Four, and cinematically is kind of what pushes it over the edge. Story wise, acting wise, it's kind of same par for me with Thunderbolts.
yeah,
Well, all right, guys, that's our review. Let us know what you thought. Let us know if you agree with our opinions. Let us know if you disagree with our opinions. If you haven't seen this movie, you should definitely go see it. I really do recommend it. It's one of the better films I've seen this year for sure. Um, and please comment. Let us know what you rated. Let us know what you thought about it. Let us know your nitpicks, your negative thoughts, your positive thoughts. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, stay locked in.